Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Seahawk Talk. We have a special guest today. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? We have Ryan with Seahawk Recap Show.
Hey guys, it's Ryan from the Seahawk Recap Show, and I'm happy to be here talking about Seahawks football. It's been a wild ride this season, and I like to talk about the Seahawks. And I started this channel 3 months ago now, and it's going great for something that I really love. So
Sweet. Well, yeah. Why don't we just ask a few questions first? Like how did you become a Seahawks fan? I guess would be the first one because you said you're all
um
the way from Canada.
Yeah, so I'm up in Canada, so I live in Ontario. So, Ontario, Canada. I'm a Seahawks fan. I watch every single Seahawks game. I've watched every single Seahawks game for this season in particular. But for me, it all started, I believe, in 2013 to 14 was when I started getting really into football. For me, I am a disabled person. So I have a physical disability called cerebral palsy, for anyone wondering. And I've always loved sports as a kid, but I was never actually able to play them myself. So I just thought, hey, might as well make something out of this and talk about the sports that I can't play but still love to do. So
Yeah, that's
yeah.
awesome. That's awesome. Why the Seahawks in particular? Because that was the Legion of Boom era.
Yeah.
So
So because it was actually a really funny story, and I remember this vividly. I asked my mother, I'm like, hey, I want to join football. I want to play in football. I want to do something with football. And my mom's like, well, Ryan, let's sit down on the couch one day and let's watch an actual football game. Because I don't think you understand how aggressive football can be. So we ended up watching the 49ers versus the Seahawks, and it was one game. I forget if it was the playoffs or not. In the Legion of Boom era, sometime around there. And I was watching it, and I was really mesmerized by Marshawn Lynch. I was really mesmerized by Cam Chancellor, Bobby Wagner, those group of dudes. So I was literally, as a kid, I was just sitting there going, "Yep, this is going to be my favorite team, and I'm going to stick with them through it." So here I am now today.
sweet. Well, at least you didn't jump off when we started doing
Oh
those.
no, oh no.
Yeah, I became a fan, and well, mine's easy. Mine since birth. I'm from here. My dad had season tickets growing up, so it's like it was super easy.
Okay,
It
yeah,
was a
yeah.
little different. Um, but yeah, I'll tell them where to find you at the end of the show when we get some more people in here in the chat and
No
everything.
worries.
But what do you think about the season so far? It's been a lot of ups and downs and ups and
Oh
downs.
man, what do I think about the season? Oh, dude. Um, yeah, it's been very bad for my mental health. Let's say some of the blowouts have been pretty bad. On my channel, I tend not to try and swear too much, but there are a couple times where I've had to redo my episodes because I've just been swearing up a storm, trying not to get so angry. Um, but yeah, for the Seahawks, man, I love Geno Smith. I think he's a very good addition to the Seahawks team. One thing I'm going to say is, Seahawks fans, if any of you are in here at this moment, please be patient with Geno Smith. I don't think it's his fault entirely that we're so bad on offense. I really don't. I think it's more of the play calling that Shane Waldron is doing. Just from me personally, I don't know what's happening, but this is what happens. One year you can be on top of the world, and next year you cannot look so hot. So it's been a struggle bus of a season, but if you would like to know more of my opinions, I would recommend going to the Seahawk game recap playlist on my channel to watch these recaps, because those are my pure reaction. None of it is scripted. None of it is anything. It's just me yelling and screaming about the Seahawks and trying to get as animated as possible for your entertainment. So
Um, yeah, it's definitely been something. I don't think Geno's 100% the issue either. I think we are going to draft a
no.
quarterback in in the upcoming season. I hope we don't
Yeah.
sign a Kirk Cousins, because the way I look at it is Geno and Kirk Cousins you're not getting that much of a difference. I'm trying to
Please
get
don't.
more.
Please.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing about drafting quarterback is we
That
want.
wouldn't be good.
Yeah, so it just we'll see. It's not been Geno hasn't had a lot of protection, but then again, he said in his press conference yesterday that he's been
No.
holding the ball on too long. But one sec, I do want to say what's up, Sijin? Sijin's a Seahawks fan. They watch a
Yeah.
lot of my shows. Lil Spongy, go check out him too. He does like sports card stuff. And Sijin said it's okay, Ryan, to get upset. We all do. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's been frustrating just because of the expectations put on
Yeah.
this team.
I get a little. Uh, yeah. Man, with what we did last year, especially, the thing is, the Seahawks for me, and I'm gonna go into this a little bit, so stop me because I like to rant a lot. So if I'm
No, you're
ranting
good.
too much, just cut
No,
me
you're
off.
totally
But
fine.
honestly, when we go to from what we did last year with no Russell Wilson, when nobody was expecting us to do anything in the season, and we went what 9-8 last season.
Yep.
It was insane to see the amount of improvement we did with Kenneth Walker being there, Zach Charbonnet. We've always had this kind of run first style, and that's something I've really enjoyed about Pete Carroll's kind of gameplay. I've really liked his game plan of scheming his guys. But when you go from a season that we just had where we had no expectations for anything at all, and then you go into this season going, okay, we've got guys on this side of the ball. You know, we just got Jackson Smith and Jigba. We've got now the three-headed monster in, Tyler Lockett, who's always been a solid receiver. DK Metcalf, who's been the big body receiver that can just destroy everybody on the field, it seems like. And then we bring in, new guys. It's great. And then they do something like this where they're 6-5, and you're like, guys, please, we should be better than this. But yeah, it's just it's a different air this year that I find from.
Oh, I think we lost him for a second. We'll see if we can come back in. But yeah, I think he was saying he's just kind of frustrated with the amount of talent that we have on this team and not getting much results. When he comes back in, I'll let me shoot him a text really quick. Sorry about that, guys. You're back. Sorry about that. I think we lost you there for
All
a
right,
sec.
so that's our first technical difficulty of the day. Oh man, it's always fun when that happens, eh? But it's all right though. But yeah,
Yeah, so
this
that's the thing.
season in particular has just been insane, and I don't like to be doom and gloom. I don't like to be that, but it happens.
And that's the thing with me too is the biggest problem I have with this team is not that they're losing games, it's the way that they've lost games, right? Like if you look at the roster up and down, we're not too far away from the 49ers,
Yeah,
but on the field it
yeah,
looked like we were light years apart. When it comes to actually playing, it looked like we were light years apart. Same with the Ravens game. The second half of the first Rams game was I don't. That was a
yeah.
different team that showed up, but it's more like that. It's like, why can't they just put it together? And I think a lot of it has to do with coaching.
Like I
And
just
I love Pete Carroll. I absolutely love Pete Carroll. I
yes,
don't think he needs to go anywhere. I
yeah,
think the offensive play
yeah.
calling is really an issue.
No,
No, you don't think so?
yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I
No,
think
I think honestly, I think the offensive play calling has been completely just whack. It's for lack of a better term. It's not been the same type since last year, and I really don't understand what's going on with that.
Yeah, it's so weird too because it's the same coordinator, and then they'll play some games where you're like, "Wow, this is really neat." You know, when they have two tight ends in the backfield with Walker or Charbonnet behind him, and you're like, "Wow, that worked out great. That was a cool power run." And then Gino gets hurt,
Yeah,
and then Gino gets hurt
like
against the Rams, and so Drew Lock is in there, and then they just abandon the run game and only pass with your backup quarterback in there. So that didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I
yeah,
think the defense
uh,
got tired against
I
the Rams.
yeah.
That was a tough one.
Well, and see, to add on to what you're saying there, it's the same thing with me in that sense of like when they lose hard. The Seahawks, like the Rams game in particular, week 1. I understand it's a season opener, but getting blown up by the Rams like that by a guy named Puka Nakua, who I've never heard of in my life up until that game. You had no Cooper Cup in that game either, so you shouldn't be struggling this much. And I think in the Ravens game in particular, I know it's the Ravens game. I wanted to blow a gasket because, man, there were 40 minutes of possession time on the
Yep.
field. What are you expecting the defense to do? What do you do in that situation? It's like, oh, they've only played what 3/4 of football almost in that position. They need to
And
stop. Well,
they handled their
the
own for the
offense needs
first
to do
couple
something.
drives.
I just
Yeah, and they handled their own for the first couple
yeah,
drives, our defense
yeah.
did, and then what happened was they got tired, and that's just what happens. I think the problem is it's just the offense, man. I think our defense is pretty decent. I don't think Bobby can cover like he used to, and I think the 49ers really,
Oh
exposed
no.
that. But it wasn't just the 49ers that exposed that Bobby can't cover as well anymore. I don't know if you remember in the Redskins game, he got
Yeah.
burned for a long touchdown against the running back. But, real quick before we get
Oh
into
yeah.
anything, we got, Dave McNiner in the chat. Siden's still there. Bryant Culp, one of my good friends. Actually, all these guys are my good friends, sorry. John
No worries.
LaJoy and, Jason. It used to be Niner Smash Massey. Now it's Captain Niner Massey. If you can explain in the chat what the change was for. But yeah, guys, also make sure to go subscribe to Ryan here. He has a Seahawks channel, super new. The link is in the description. I'll mention that a couple times. But yeah, no,
No.
let's talk about the goods. Let's talk about what you've liked this season because I know coming off of that Thursday loss, nobody really wants to talk about the positives of anything. Um, But I
Yeah.
kinda wanna do
Oh
talk about the positives
God.
halfway through the season. I think Devin Witherspoon's
Yeah. Yeah.
been awesome. Uh, who else you got on
Yes.
your
Yes.
mid-season?
I want his jersey now. For me, and when I was looking at who's impressed me so far, it's been Zach Charbonnet. And I'm going to offense here because I've really liked Zach Charbonnet because he's reminded me so much of Marshawn Lynch. It's a
Mhm,
very interesting style of running that he's used throughout his time here at Seattle. And the thing about the positives of the season is that we've now got Gino for the next 3 years. Whether you think that's a mistake or not, I really like Gino. Like I've said multiple times, probably on this show already. Um,
mhm.
but I think having him as a signal caller will help any kind of quarterback that comes in that room. I think helping out Drew Lock is a big must for the future. If we don't draft a quarterback in the draft this year. But like you said, I love Devin Witherspoon. I want that man to stay a Seahawk for his entire career because he reminds me of a little Richard Sherman. Just the amount of aggressiveness that he's shown throughout his time here. I've always loved Bobby Wagner. I hope when he retires eventually, Jordan Brooks has already shown that he's the guy of the future. He's the linebacker that we want to replace Bobby Wagner. I've loved our pass rush. I love the Leonard Williams signing. If you've seen that video of mine, and even if you haven't, I would recommend going to watch it, because a lot of people were really angry when we got Leonard Williams instead of Chase Young. And I was sitting there going, okay, guys, yeah, it really sucks that we didn't get Chase Young, but Leonard Williams is still a really, really good player. Like, I don't think people realize how good he is. And he's been showing up for this pass rush when we lost Nchenu and Wosu. That was a really big struggle for me, losing him, because I really like him as a player as well. I love this defense, and I love the players on offense. I just wish we could get a little more pep in our step in terms of third down conversions, because that's been a big problem this season.
Yeah, and red zone offense is another big thing. That's been a huge killer this season, especially the Bengals game.
Yeah,
I
didn't mention that.
But yeah, no, I'd say
just
positives throughout the year. I'd say Cross is performing nicely. Somehow Jason Peters has played his butt off for being 41 years old. Smith and Jigba's finally coming
Jason
into
Peters
his
is
own.
not human.
Yeah, JSN has had a huge catch
Jason.
against the 49ers. So we have the pieces. That's what's so frustrating, is we have the pieces there. It's just, can we make them work together? And I think Geno has been a bit of a problem. As much as I love Geno, you can ask everybody on this chat has heard me talk about Geno before. I love Geno, but he's really got to step it up, or else he will be replaced next year, because it may be a 3-year contract, but it's really a 1-year contract, because we can cut ties with him really easy in the offseason. So he's going to show a little bit more.
Yeah, and I think, honestly, to go back to the Geno comment, and I know I've been a real big Geno defender this show here, but I've talked my smack about Geno. I've said that he needs to play better. His red zone interceptions, especially against the Bengals, made me want to have heart palpitations, and I'm only 21 years old, so I shouldn't be having heart problems watching Seahawks games. However, that was a really bad game from him. But I think with an $100 million player, he has $100 million for 3 years on that contract. If we can get away from that, I don't think we should, just because of the mentor and leadership. If he can now down the stretch, especially in the next game against Dallas, really show that he's gotten back into a groove, I think Pete Carroll should honestly run the entire offense through the dirt, so that we can get better for the Cowboys. Because if we lose on another Thursday night game that I will be recapping for you guys, it will come out Friday for you guys. But when I recap that game and if I see the same things over and over that have plagued us, the penalties, the red zone offense, and the third down conversion rate, and I see those 3 things and they haven't improved, I might just cry on camera. I don't know what I'll do. But, I honestly think that we can do this. This is a terrible stretch. We had the 49ers. Now we have the Dallas Cowboys. Then we had the 49ers again. So thanks for that. And then we have the Eagles, who are 10-1 right now, I believe, as of recording. So it's definitely 4-game stretch is going to be difficult. But I think we can get out ahead of this. I don't think our playoff chances are dead in the water. I honestly think that we can make the playoffs and we can make some noise. We just need to fix some of the errors that have been plaguing us this season.
And that's the thing too, is I think we'll make the playoffs. Especially you saw how the Vikings looked last night. You've seen how the Packers have looked this season. I'm not, but that's the thing with this team, is I didn't want to just make the playoffs. I'm not fine with just making the playoffs with this roster we have. And if we get first rounded again like last year, I don't want to see it. Because that's not good. The thing is about the playoffs last year, is that nobody expected us to be there. So it was a win just to be in the playoffs. And you know
Mhm.
what? We got smacked in the playoffs, and you go, okay, well, it's the Seahawks. We weren't supposed to be there. Well, this year there's
Yeah.
expectations. And,
Yeah.
you know, if we go anywhere, it doesn't matter. San Francisco, who's it going to be? Probably either San Francisco, Detroit.
It's probably going to be the Lions, knowing that the playoff picture is there. It's the Lions right now. If the
Mhm.
season stays like it is right now, it would be the Lions.
Yeah.
I
So
don't know
I
if
don't know.
you're sorry.
I,
I don't know if you're prepared for this, but if the Lions beat us in the playoffs, I'm going to lose my mind. I think the Lions are a great team, but man, again, like you said, if we get first round exited again without even making a shot, uh, I don't know what's next. I don't know
yeah.
what's next.
Well, I do. I think I know what's next no matter what, unless we do make a deep run. I think we're going to draft a quarterback in the first round next year. I think
Yeah,
that's coming basically, unless we make a deep playoff run. I think that's coming. Um,
yeah,
I I think unless we make a deep playoff run, if we just stumble into the playoffs like we did last season, I think we're gonna. I think we're gonna see a change at the offensive coordinator again, which I hate because we've seen changes so many
yep,
times. You know, we had
yep,
first it was Jeremy Bates, but he was only there a year, and then we had Bevel for a
yes,
long time, then Schottenheimer, now Waldron.
yep,
So I'm kind of tired of that. I kind of just want to you know, get I just want this team to get in a groove, and that's the hardest thing. And Siden's
yeah.
right that we still have problems in the trenches. Yeah, we do.
Hmm.
Gino's been running for his life back there a lot this season. Got
Well,
s- got sacked 6 times last game.
yeah,
So
but again, okay, I'm gonna play devil's advocate. Okay, this offensive line that we have, you got Charles Cross, you've got Abraham Lucas, who's been out the majority of the year. Those are 2-star tackles. You got Jason Peters, who's been filling in, very valiantly. He's been doing really well, but he's also 46 years old. Like not really, but he feels
41.
like he's 90. Like
Mhm.
for an NFL lineman to be that old and still playing at a high level like this is just insane to me.
Yeah.
But for me, I think we're gonna see a change no matter what. If we stumble into the playoffs like we did, we're going to see a change. And I'm really worried for this as a Seahawks fan because I've loved Pete Carroll and I will defend the man and I will die on this hill that he is one of the best coaches in Seahawks history.
Oh no,
And
he's
just
the best. He is not one
he's
of the best.
he's
I've
so
lived through a few of them at this point. Like I
yeah.
said, so I know what it's like. I know what it's like to watch the Seahawks go 4-12, and even when the
Yeah.
Seahawks finish 7-9 with Pete Carroll, it's a lot different. There's a lot more of a positive energy surrounding the
Mhm.
team, even if we do have a losing record. I think what's going to happen. I don't. We're not going to see a change at head coach.
I hope
I
not. I hope not.
no, we're not. Fans have been calling for that literally for the past
I
6
know.
years. And
And people
it's a
need to
good thing
stop it.
fans don't run the organization. So,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
but here's the thing is I think we're gonna get a new offensive coordinator. I don't think it's gonna make that much of a difference. But if we get a different quarterback, if we get a quarterback that's mobile, and we can utilize that he's mobile, that might be a difference. Because this roster is ready to win a Super Bowl minus the quarterback.
Yes.
If you
Yes.
put any top tier quarterback on our roster right now, I don't think there's any question that we're up there contending with any team in the NFL. I think it's just that quarterback and the play calling. So
Well, and another thing I wanted to bring up, and another thing that I really have seen over my past couple of years as a Seahawks fan, and I know I came in at the Legion of Boom days where our defense was erratic, our offense had beast mode on it, and everybody was having a good time. But it looks like over the past couple of years, at least from what I've seen, has been we've either had a good defense and a terrible offense, or we've
or
had a good
bust.
offense and a terrible defense. And if we can just put those two things together, we would be in shot of a Super Bowl, and we cannot continue to rotate the revolving door that is our OC. We can't. We just can't. So all the people that sang fire Shane Waldron, I agree. But after careful consideration and having the mental capacity to think clearly after a Seahawks loss, I think that if we just stick with Shane Waldron, we could be okay for another year. But it'll take this year and next year, I think. I
Yeah,
don't want to see him fired just yet.
No, I don't really either. But here's the thing: Sijan said something earlier. Have we seen the Rams offense with Waldron? I haven't, and thought we were just playing vanilla schemes, and that's true.
Yeah.
No, I think he comes out with some schemes sometimes, some at least formations that look awesome. Like especially when they run that that T formation they're doing all the time. They even run the V formation with two running backs to the side and then two tight ends to the side and then running back in the backfield in pistol. I mean, they do some things. It's just not executed well, and I don't know whose deal that is. So we'll find out. We'll find out if Gino's on the team next year. I'm happy. If he's not, whatever. I just want to. I want to see him turn around this season. I really do because I like Gino as a person, and I like him as a quarterback. So
yeah. And one thing I really like is that last season he didn't just come in and be a good quarterback. He came in and won Comeback Player of the Year. This man has been put on the back burner for quarterback. He's been labeled a bust, and he hasn't started for an NFL franchise since Seattle, I believe, if I remember correctly.
What do you mean?
Like he hasn't been in a starting role. Like he hasn't been able to take charge of an offense
since New York, since the Jets.
Since New York. Yeah, that's right. That's what I thought. So in terms of everything that's going on, it's one of those things where I think honestly, Shane Waldron, he makes all these nice little plays. He's made some nice formations. He's done a lot of creative things, and then he's sort of gone away with it. Like he just forgets and has memory loss on what he just ran because he never calls them again. And that's what happens game to game. And I think he needs to learn how to adjust in games like this because, again, you can't expect the defense to do everything for you. That's just not how it works.
And one thing I really like about the Rams and 49ers offense, what they do compared to us, is they'll run pre-snap. They'll run, 6 different plays that look exactly the same pre-snap with a weird motion or something, and it'll be a bunch of different plays they'll run, and it will look exactly the same pre-snap, and it feels like the Seahawks don't do that. But Shane Waldron comes from the Rams, right? So Sean McVay does that. I mean, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but we'll see where they go. If they stumble in the playoffs or if they miss the playoffs, Waldron's gone. If they miss the playoffs, Gino's gone. But other than that, our roster, there's not too much to bitch about. We'll get Chenna back next year. That's a big deal in our pass rush. I think Darrell Taylor's contract's expiring, but he wasn't very. He doesn't impress me much, anyways. So.
No. And also another thing I really like this year that we didn't get to see much last year is Jamal Adams.
Yeah, he's been covering, but his tackling has not been impressive.
No, and that's weird. The thing. That's the thing, man. Like, I've been watching Jamal ever since he got traded to the Seahawks. I've looked at him with so much envy because he reminds me of a bunch of different players like Cam Chancellor, for example, one of my favorite strong safeties we've ever had.
I wouldn't go there. He don't.
But I understand. I understand that's a big jump, but he reminds me of that kind of guy. I think he's a hybrid between a strong safety and a linebacker. He likes playing in the box. I really like that about him. I just
Mhm.
want to see him have the same veracity and intensity that he had with the Jets. And
And my
if we can get it together, that'd be
when
great.
he was trying to get paid, my problem is how much money he makes for how little production we get.
Yes.
Um,
Yes. Yeah.
and it's not like baseball where we can just go out and pay X amount of dollars to everybody, right? So
Hmm.
we have a salary cap that's important, and
Yep.
that's my issue with Jamal Adams. That he eats up so much of that cap for such little production.
Yeah. He
Um,
played what, 12 games? 12 games in 3 seasons, I think. Correct?
no, it's got to be more than that.
I think it was 12 when I was researching. I can't remember off the top of my head. But he's been injury ridden in Seattle. And talking about people that are going to be gone if we miss or even stumble into the playoffs, I think Jamal Adams might be gone.
The only problem with Jamal is we can't trade him because nobody will take his contract. So we're gonna have to
Yeah,
eat that money. We're in such a
yeah,
screwed spot with Jamal for the next 2 years, I think, is the
yeah.
issue. He's gonna have to be on this team, and it's gonna kind of suck. Um, Sajin asked a pretty good question. Thoughts on Diggs' production thus far? I think they're having him play kind of a different role because they're playing a lot of that
Yes.
free safety look. He's not going to be that post safety that we're used to seeing him. I think he still could be, but I think he's been pretty productive this season. It just he doesn't have the numbers to show for it because he's not
No.
playing the same position.
No, I think you're right on that, because I love the kind of three safety look we got going on. I don't
Mhm.
actually mind that, but that also leads to his production being a little bit down. So I think, like I've said probably multiple times on my channel at this point, stats don't tell the full picture a lot of the time. Like they do tell a picture and they do paint a picture because it's analytics. But when you're watching Diggs play, you can see that he's a highly motivated free safety who is ready to make the big plays when it needs to happen. For me, his tackling has been a bit iffy at times, but that's been the whole Seahawks secondary for a little bit now.
Except
But I
Witherspoon.
I still think, well,
Witherspoon. It's
Witherspoon is
did you
just
see when
piece
Mullen
meat.
got benched last weekend? Him
Oh,
and
yes.
I don't remember if
Yes.
it was Love or Diggs, but it was Mullen and one other guy just
It
hit
was it was
Witherspoon.
Julian, I think. I think it was
Yeah,
Julian.
they just needed one. Witherspoon just needed some help bringing the guy down.
Yeah,
They hit Witherspoon. I mean, Jesus.
didn't
Sijan
work.
asked another good question. Should we go back to a 3-4 or a 4-3 defense? We kind of basically have been playing a 4-3 defense this season.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Um,
think I think at this
they've
point
they've
it's needed.
quietly done that. They've
Yeah.
quietly switched more to a 4-3 again. So
Well, because it's appropriate for what we've got going on, I think. Going to a 3-4 would have been pretty detrimental, considering that, again, like you've mentioned, Bobby Wagner, I love the man to death, but he just isn't covering like he used to. And this is
yeah,
the biggest thing that I've looked at with Bobby Wagner, is that he's really good on the run stuff. He's really good at tackling, but he just can't cover some of these elusive wide
running
receivers,
backs and running
especially,
backs.
yeah, and running backs. Like, I don't know, when we were watching the American Thanksgiving on the 49ers game, like CMC, Debo Samuel, Brendan
Mhm.
Ayuk even, are you trusting Bobby to cover any of those guys now? Like, because I'm certainly not. I would rather Jordan Brooks or Julian Love or somebody else to cover him, because, again, Bobby Wagner can tackle. He's just not got the foot speed to keep up with those guys.
Yeah, that's the issue. So I just said it was because of Woolen's shoulder is why he got benched. Okay,
Oh,
I didn't
okay,
know
okay,
that.
okay. I
I
missed
I
that, I guess.
honestly haven't heard. I haven't looked much into the Hawks since I want to say Saturday. Saturday, I've been kind of on a downer. I haven't listened much to the radio. I'm gonna be completely
Yeah.
honest with you.
Oh, yeah, no. I've been looking at stats and things like that, but because my short attention span, I can't remember a lot of stats that I read. So, it's been pretty rough. But again, I think honestly, we just need to win this Thursday night game coming up.
Yeah, it's a must win.
That's what we
It
need to
really
do.
is. But yeah, no, like we said earlier, I think the Seahawks can still make the playoffs. You look at
Yeah.
Minnesota, they lost last night.
Hmm.
I don't know who's coming up on us. Green Bay, LA. LA's not that good. We just struggle against them. We should have manhandled them that game, especially with the first half we had.
Yeah.
That was, I mean,
Yeah.
it felt like the first half, it felt like we were going to win 42 to nothing.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
and then it just, boy, that took a turn for the worse.
And I after that game, since you brought it up, thank you for bringing this up because I wanted to mention this as well. Anyone who is on Instagram, on the Seahawks Instagram pages, please don't ever say fire Jason Myers.
Yeah.
Please don't ever say release him. Don't blame it on him because the man has had to make 2 game-winning field goals against the Rams and against Washington. So he's been doing just fine. And that's why we pay our kickers, because if we didn't pay our kickers, we would not have the record that we have. So be more mindful of who you're telling us to release and who you're telling us to fire, because without Jason Myers,
Yeah.
we wouldn't be as good
Yeah,
as we
and
are.
that's another thing is I want to know what people's opinion on this team differently would be if he had made that field goal, though. If he had made
Yeah.
that game winner,
Yes.
how much
Yes.
would the opinion on Geno Smith be differently?
Yeah.
Because everybody left that game going, "Oh, Geno sucks. Oh,
Geno
Well,
sucked.
Geno
Yeah.
came back. Geno came back with a contusion on his tricep and
Yeah.
marched the team right down the field.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see Drew Lock do that once. I saw
No.
Drew Lock have
No.
net 2 passing yards and 1 interception on 2 drives.
Yeah.
Me and
Yeah. It was.
Sajin was one of the bench Geno people, and then they were in my chat the week after, and they go, "I've seen enough. I've seen
Hey,
enough Drew Lock.
hey,
I don't need to see
Sajin,
it."
I don't like you because you are the same kind of people that said, "Oh, we want to see Drew Lock. We want to see Drew Lock." And then guess what happened? He throws a pick and he throws 2 yards. Stop. Stop. I know you're angry, but take a sip of water and come to your senses. Drew Lock is not the answer this game,
I
buddy.
like
We can't.
Sajin
We
didn't think
can't.
so.
Thank
Sajin
God.
said, "I've seen enough."
Okay,
He's
good. Good. Okay, we got him back on the butt. Okay. Let's just
Sajin's
make
super
sure.
cool.
Good.
Sajin's cool.
Good.
He also said Myers scores more points than
Yeah.
our offense. He was saying to
Again,
release.
man, it's not good. I'm just gonna say it. It's not good when your kicker is kicking more points than your offense is scoring. I am gonna have an aneurysm. But yeah, it's I just don't even know how we're gonna get in the playoffs. I think we're gonna get in the playoffs. I need to see more, because if we go in the playoffs and play like we've been doing, it's not gonna be good, man. It's not gonna be good. It's gonna be another first round exit, and I don't know if my heart can take it.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It's good. There's a lot of season left, right? So
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
let's see if we can turn this around. If we can't, we know there's going to be changes. But yeah, is there anything else you want to talk about before we get out of here?
One thing I wanted to say is, Seahawks fans, you guys at home, especially, like, you guys bring the energy. A lot of the time, I've watched you guys at home, and you guys are bringing the energy so much. So from someone who lives in Canada who can't get to Seattle, I want to be in that stadium. I want to be in Lumen Field. I will always call it CenturyLink Field. Don't at me. But I want to get there one day, and I want to feel that atmosphere, because it's one of my favorite teams. It's one of my dream destinations to go to, actually, for a football game. So you guys have been awesome at home. We just need to keep our heads held high, because the morale around the Seahawks right now at least from certain people and corners of the internet that I've scoped out, has been very, very
Yeah,
downtrodden.
well, let's just say so I go to last game was the only game I'm not going to this season.
Yeah.
The so I'd say it's a lot different when you're actually there than on Twitter. I can't
Yeah.
stand Twitter.
No,
Um,
no,
I
I've gotten off
noticed
the platform. I
I
can't.
noticed myself getting in like arguments with people,
Yep.
not like that bad, but just like getting like angry about stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, why am I doing this? I'm like an old man on Facebook talking
Oh
about
yeah.
politics right now.
I
Um,
love just scrolling the comments to get mad. If you ever need to get mad about something, just scroll comments on Twitter and you'll be
Seahawks
all good.
Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we beat the Cowboys, are we feeling better about the games ahead? Yeah, I think absolutely. If we're what 7-5
Yeah.
and
7-5. Yeah.
going into two very hard games, and then so yeah, we got Cowboys, Niners, Eagles, and then after
Eagles. Yeah.
that,
I believe it's not the Cardinals. It's
no,
the
it's the Titans, Steelers,
Titans.
Cardinals.
Titans,
Yeah,
Steelers, Cardinals. So, in my opinion, for this next stretch, okay, you already blew one game against the 49ers. We beat the Cowboys. We're feeling a little bit better. But for me to really look at this and go, okay, good. I can feel better about this now. We need to split the series with the 49ers because
my thing,
we've already
my
given up that Rams games.
My thing isn't even splitting with the 49ers at this point. It's just make it a competitive game no matter what you do.
Yeah,
Show us life. Show us that you can play
that
with
too,
those
I'll be
guys.
fine with that. That too,
Yeah,
I'll be fine.
yeah. So show us that you can play with those guys because you did it in the first half of the wild card game last year.
Yep.
You were winning that game going into halftime.
It's possible.
So yeah, and then Sijin also says, "Don't forget we still own the Eagles." I'm not talking shit about the Eagles right now. Sijin,
I don't want to. I don't even want to talk about the Eagles because they scare the bejesus out of me. I'm gonna have nightmares about that game if we lose because it's not gonna be pretty, man. It's not gonna be pretty.
But yeah, no, Ryan, thank you so much for coming on. It's
No
funny.
worries, man.
I'm going on with I have a weekly show with a guy named Ryan. He's a 49ers
Okay.
fan. So
Yeah.
we'll be on tomorrow. But also, like I said, everybody, please click on that link in the comments. Please go subscribe to him because he comes out with some awesome shorts. Not even shorts, just kind of like reaction, like quick YouTube videos.
Yeah.
And they're
I try.
really good. I like his input. So
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
But yeah, with that, I think we're out. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.